Hey everybody, Sean here from Somm Wine Club, and I have got Somm wine for you. This is the Medici Ermete Quercioli Lambrusco Secco from Emilia-Romagna in central Italy. This is part of the October 2022 Somm Wine Club box. Now, I love Lambrusco. Lambrusco is a reinvigorated style that has grown in popularity immensely over the last 5-6 years, especially here in Vancouver and in North America. Lambrusco went through a phase, the Lambrusco boom of the 70s and early 80s in North America almost killed the industry in Emilia-Romagna. The focus for a lot of the less scrupulous producers in the region was to make as much as they possibly could and just get it to market. This is when you had wines like Riunite, which flooded the market, and that's all that really anybody associated with Lambrusco for decades. There have always been great producers in the region, but they were overshadowed by these massive corporations producing jug wine that wasn't a good representation of the region. Medici Ermete started in 1890. It was a tavern owner in Emilia-Romagna who decided they would start producing some wine. In the 80s, right about the time that 1980s, that is, right about the time that the industry was collapsing, is when Medici Ermete decided to make some major changes. So the regulations for producing wine in Emilia-Romagna for Lambrusco were a little lax, and they weren't necessarily using the best technology available at the time. So they went ahead and they did it on their own. They changed everything to cordon and spur trained. They cut the yields down on their production, and they really started to focus even more than they had been before on quality rather than quantity, counter to what a lot of producers in the region were doing at the time. And it paid off. They have established themselves as one of the best producers in Italy, not just of Lambrusco, but of wine in general. Their top end Lambrusco, the Concerto, which is a single estate Lambrusco, has been awarded Tre Bicchieri, which is a 3-glass award consistently over the time that it has been produced, since 1993. The Quercioli is made from similar varieties of Lambrusco. Lambrusco has a couple of different varieties. There's Lambrusco Grasparosa, there's Sorbara, there's Salamino, there's Marani. This one is Lambrusco Salamino and Lambrusco Marani. So two different clones or species of Lambrusco that are blended together for this particular bottling. Now, this is a Secco style Lambrusco, which means that it can have up to 15 grams of residual sugar. It often doesn't. This one's about 14, I think, just enough that you'll have a little bit of elevated fruitiness. Because there's so much acidity in this wine, you don't taste the sweetness. The sweetness is blended in perfectly. And just like I do with every other sparkling wine that I've put into the boxes, I open it on camera so that I can give people a proper demonstration, although I'm sure you're probably tired of seeing it at this point. So remember, the little tab goes down, and then your thumb never comes off the top of the bottle. You want to make sure that you keep your thumb on there because it's like holding onto a hand grenade. And then once the cage is loose, you can just grab the cork by the hand and just twist. And the pressure inside the bottle will force the cork out. Easy. So let's see. Oh, I love that. That color, when you pour a wine like this into the glass with this beautiful pink froth that kind of works its way up on top of the glass, froth fades away. This is done in a Charmat method, like most Lambrusco is, which means that it's done in the tank rather than in the bottle. Not like champagne, where they put the yeast and the sugar in the bottle and then ferment it in the bottle. They do this in a large pressurized tank, very consistent, very focused on preserving bright fruit flavors. But there's a lot going on in these wines, and just because they can be served a little bit chilled and they have a little sparkle does not make them any less of a serious red wine. There's lots of like black raspberry, crushed stone, black cherry. There's a little bit of like balsamic glaze. There's some really beautiful dried herbal, like spicy character to this wine as well. It's robust smelling. It's intoxicating. It lifts itself out of the glass. It's really, really lifted and bright. Taste. Of course, just having the bubbles immediately means that the wine just explodes in your mouth. You get all of those flavors kind of working themselves into different corners of your mouth from the bubbles. And you notice that there is very, ever so slightly, that touch of sweetness. It's present. Secco means dry, but dry-ish is probably a better kind of way of describing this. But in balance. Sugar in wine is not necessarily a bad thing. Think about when you have lemonade. If you were to just have a jug full of lemon juice, that wouldn't be very appetizing, but you add a little bit of sweetness to it, you balance out the acidity in the wine, and then you created something that is greater than the sum of its parts. And that's what you do with wines that are higher in acidity to balance the acidity. I love that this has a tannic structure to it. It lingers in your mouth. It creates just a little bit of a puckering sensation on the sides of your tongue and the sides of your mouth, letting you know that you are drinking something with substance, something that has a little bit more intensity and complexity and robust flavors versus just a simple sparkling red wine. Now, Emilia-Romagna is the culinary heart of Italy. It's where you have great Italian food like prosciutto di Parma or Parmigiano Reggiano or balsamic vinegar of Modena. So you imagine that the wine of the region is going to pair perfectly with that kind of food. You can plant me down anywhere in Emilia-Romagna and I'm going to be happy. Just get me a bottle of Lambrusco. I'll take a cab that's actually a Ferrari because Modena is the home of Ferrari and Lamborghini. And I'm just going to eat all the great food. I would love to make my own pasta with this. You can do things like cappelletti and tortellini, the stuffed pasta that is indigenous to the region of Emilia-Romagna. But I'm obviously not going to make stuffed pasta tonight. And I've got this open bottle of Lambrusco. So wouldn't it be great if I could just snap my fingers and have a really good pizza here that I can enjoy with my bottle of Lambrusco? Whoa. Magic of television, right? Now that is what I want right now with what I have left from this bottle of Lambrusco. Yes, that is my cue to say thank you very much for tuning in for this little episode of Wine with Me. I hope you enjoy the Medici Ermete Quercioli Secco Lambrusco from the October 2022 Somm Wine Club box. Shoot me a message on social media or leave a comment on the video if you like. I would love to connect with you and talk about Lambrusco, talk about food, talk about your experiences, and give you some pointers on how to enjoy these great wines. So thanks very much. We'll see you next time.